There was a time when the world barely noticed India, a country once defined by poverty, chaos, and contradiction. Yet today, everyone's asking the same question: how did India become so important? It's a paradox that challenges everything we thought we knew about power. While many nations stumbled in the 21st century, India, the world's largest democracy, quietly turned crisis into opportunity and ambition into strategy. Some said democracy would slow it down. Others said population growth would crush it. But here we are, an India building rockets to the moon, producing CEOs for global tech giants, and shaping the balance between the West and the East. It's the India growth story that no one predicted, and yet it's happening right before our eyes. In this journey, we'll uncover the real secrets behind the India rise, how a former colony rebuilt itself into a global power, why the India versus China rivalry is shaping the future, and what makes India's 2030 vision so unique. Stick around until the end, because understanding India's transformation isn't just about history, it's about the future of the world. When people talk about the India rise today, it's easy to forget how it all began, under the shadow of British colonial rule. For nearly 2 centuries, India was drained of its wealth, its resources funneled to fuel Britain's industrial revolution. By the time independence came in 1947, the country was battered, its economy crippled, and millions displaced after the partition that created Pakistan. Yet, against all odds, India decided to walk a path no one expected: democracy. Nehru's dream wasn't just about governance, it was about dignity, identity, and self-reliance. Those early decades weren't glamorous. The India development story was filled with hunger, poverty, and bureaucratic paralysis. But what's fascinating is that while other post-colonial nations slid into dictatorships, India stuck to its democratic ideals. That choice, messy as it was, became its biggest strength. When the world doubted that democracy could survive in a poor, divided nation, India proved them wrong. Even during food shortages in the 1960s, the Green Revolution slowly turned the tide. Books like India After Gandhi by Ramachandra Guha capture this gritty, hopeful era perfectly. Still, the road to becoming a global power was far from smooth. The socialistic-inspired policies that built heavy industries also suffocated innovation and entrepreneurship. The dream of a self-reliant nation started to clash with the harsh reality of global competition. By the 1980s, the cracks were showing. India needed a new direction, a rebirth of ambition. That moment came not through triumph, but through crisis, setting the stage for one of the most defining moments in the India growth story, 1991. By the early 90s, India was standing on the edge of an economic cliff. Foreign reserves could barely cover 2 weeks of imports, inflation was climbing, and confidence was collapsing. The country had to pledge its gold reserves just to stay afloat, a moment that symbolized desperation but also the start of transformation. When Finance Minister Manmohan Singh announced a sweeping set of liberalization reforms, few realized it would reshape the India Rise story forever. It wasn't just an economic reset, it was the birth of a new mindset. The reforms dismantled decades of protectionism. Privatization, deregulation, and open doors for foreign investment turned India into a global opportunity zone. Suddenly, multinational companies started paying attention, seeing in India what economists called a sleeping giant. The middle class began to grow, consumer markets expanded, and the India economy found its rhythm. If someone had invested in Indian equity markets during those years, say in the early Infosys or HDC, they'd have seen exponential returns. It's a reminder that India development wasn't just about policy, it was about people believing in change. What's striking is how that moment redefined ambition itself. From small towns to metro cities, Indians started dreaming beyond borders. The India growth story wasn't limited to factories or exports. It was about ideas. This newfound confidence became the foundation for something even bigger, a digital revolution that would soon make India the brain behind the world's technology. The transformation that started in crisis was about to evolve into one of the greatest success stories of globalization. When people think of India's rise today, it's impossible not to picture glowing tech hubs, late-night coding sessions, and global companies led by Indian minds. The 1990s liberalization opened the floodgates for a revolution that would make India the world's digital brain. Companies like Infosys, Wipro, and TCS became symbols of a new era, exporting not goods but knowledge. The English advantage, combined with a young, educated population, turned India into the world's back office. The India growth story had found its global niche, technology. By the 2000s, Bangalore wasn't just another city, it was India's Silicon Valley. Thousands of graduates from IITs and engineering colleges joined the global IT workforce, transforming the country's image from poverty to potential. The India economy started benefiting from billions in outsourcing contracts. American firms trusted Indian engineers with their systems, data, and digital backbone. It wasn't uncommon to hear that while America was asleep, India was coding. If you want to understand this period better, Nandi Nilekani's Imagining India offers a brilliant insider view. But this wasn't just about software, it was about mindset. The success of tech gave Indians the confidence to innovate, create startups, and build products that could compete globally. Today, from fintech to AI, India's digital ecosystem continues to expand, with over 100 unicorns already on the list. Yet, behind the success lies a bigger question. Can this innovation sustain a billion people's ambitions? That's where population, domestic power, and social transformation enter the picture. With over 1.4 billion people, India isn't just big, it's massive. But numbers alone don't explain why India is important today. What makes this population remarkable is its youth. Over 65% are under 35. This demographic advantage gives the India economy a powerful edge, a workforce that's educated, ambitious, and tech-savvy. In many ways, India is where China was 20 years ago, but with democracy, English fluency, and digital integration on its side. It's a potential recipe for explosive growth, if managed well. Urban centers like Mumbai, Delhi, and Hyderabad have become engines of consumption, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Every day, millions join the formal economy, buying, investing, learning, and dreaming. The India development story has become deeply domestic. Rising middle-class consumption is projected to reach $6 trillion by 2030, according to McKinsey. Yet, beneath the glitter lies a hard truth. Inequality still divides rural and urban India. For those studying emerging economies, The Billionaire Raj by James Crabtree explains this fascinating tension, the coexistence of ambition and despair. Still, India's domestic power is its secret weapon in geopolitics. Its population doesn't just produce, it consumes, innovates, and influence. From Bollywood to digital payments, from startups to renewable energy, the world increasingly sees the India growth story as a force shaping global trends. But how does this internal strength translate into global influence? That answer lies not only in economics, but in geopolitics, the arena where India now balances giants like the US, Russia, and China. In today's fractured world, India's geopolitics has become one of the most fascinating balancing acts of modern times. Positioned between the West and the East, India has mastered the art of strategic independence. It maintains defense ties with Russia, economic partnerships with the US, and a wary rivalry with China. The India versus China dynamic defines much of Asia's power balance. Two civilizations racing toward dominance, but with very different models. While China focuses on state control, India bets on democracy, innovation, and global collaboration. Through initiatives like the Quad Alliance with the US, Japan, and Australia, India has emerged as a central player in the Indo-Pacific strategy, a region now at the heart of global power struggles. The modernization of its defense forces, homegrown missiles, and the acquisition of Rafale jets have all signaled a new confidence. As one diplomat once said, India doesn't choose sides, it chooses interests. That flexible strategy keeps doors open with Washington, Moscow, and even African and Middle Eastern partners, reinforcing why India is important in this new multipolar world. But geopolitics isn't just about borders or weapons. It's also about ideas and identity. India's growing influence in trade, technology, and diplomacy is shaping how emerging nations view power. From the BRICS alliance to leadership in climate negotiations, the India rise isn't just about catching up. It's about redefining the rules. And as global powers recalibrate, one question looms large. How far can this new India go? The answer lies in its vision for the future, one driven by ambition, innovation, and a belief that it can truly become a global power by 2030. Under Narendra Modi's leadership, India Rise has taken on a new, confident tone. Make in India isn't just a slogan, it's a call for self-reliance in a world shaken by supply chain shocks. The country is building everything from semiconductors to satellites, proving it's no longer content being just a service economy. With Digital India connecting hundreds of millions online and ISRO sending missions to the Moon and Mars at a fraction of Western costs, India's ambition is clear: to become a global power that blends tradition with cutting-edge innovation. Culturally, India has discovered its soft power like never before. Bollywood, yoga, cuisine, and even cricket have become global exports of identity and pride. From New York to Nairobi, people celebrate Indian festivals and wear Indian designs. It's influence without invasion, a rare kind of global presence. Yet, behind this glow lies the true challenge of the India growth story: maintaining balance between modernization and social inclusivity. A superpower isn't defined just by GDP, but by how it uplifts its people. Books like The Argumentative Indian by Amartya Sen explore this beautifully. So, can India truly become a superpower by 2030? The signs are there: a thriving economy, a booming startup scene, geopolitical relevance, and cultural dominance. But it's a race against time, as climate change, inequality, and global competition tests its resilience. Still, India's journey from colony to democracy, from crisis to confidence, shows one thing clearly: the best chapters of the India development story may not have been written yet. They're being written right now. So, what does India's journey really teach us? That greatness doesn't always begin with strength. Sometimes it begins with struggle. From the ashes of colonial exploitation to becoming a global power, the India growth story shows what's possible when a nation dares to dream beyond its limits. The same principles apply to individuals. Consistency, resilience, and belief can turn any crisis into opportunity. But the big question remains: will India's Superpower 2030 become reality? That depends not just on policy, but on people. On innovators building solutions, on leaders staying accountable, and on citizens demanding progress. Maybe the real power of India development lies in how it inspires others to rise, to believe that democracy and ambition can coexist. What do you think? Can India truly surpass expectations and shape the 21st century? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's start a conversation. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and stay tuned for more deep dives into how nations shape our world.